The fall of Earth. The sky burned. From the observation deck of the Eternal Dawn, Commander Elena Reyes watched as Earth's once vibrant blue atmosphere turned a sickly orange. The Krylos Dominion's warships hung in orbit like vultures, their sleek, black hulls blotting out the sun. Below, the cities that had stood for centuries were reduced to smoldering ruins. Billions of lives extinguished in moments. "Commander, we've lost contact with New York, Tokyo, and Mumbai," Lieutenant Carter reported, his voice tight with despair. "The Krylos are sweeping the planet. There's nothing left to save." Elena clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. She had sworn to protect Earth, to defend humanity. But how could she fight an enemy that had already won? The Krylos had arrived without warning. One moment, Earth sensors had detected an anomaly at the edge of the solar system. The next, the alien armada was upon them. Their weapons were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Energy beams that disintegrated entire city blocks, drones that hunted down survivors with terrifying precision. The United Earth Defense Force had mobilized immediately, but it was like throwing pebbles at a tidal wave. "We need to go," Elena said, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. "If we stay, we die. And if we die, humanity dies with us." The Eternal Dawn was humanity's last hope. A prototype warship equipped with experimental technology, it was faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything else in the fleet. But even it couldn't stand against the Krylos armada. Their only chance was to run. As the ship's engines roared to life, Elena took one last look at Earth. She thought of the people she had failed to save, the families, the children, the brave soldiers who had fought to the last. She thought of her own family, lost in the first wave of the attack. "We'll come back," she whispered, though she wasn't sure if it was a promise or a prayer. The Eternal Dawn shot into the void, leaving Earth behind. Behind them, the Krylos ships gave chase, their weapons lighting up the darkness. The crew worked frantically to evade the enemy, their faces pale with fear. "We're not going to make it," Carter muttered, his hands trembling on the controls. "We will," Elena said, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "We have to." And then, just as the Krylos closed in, the Eternal Dawn activated its experimental warp drive. Space itself seemed to fold around the ship, and in an instant, they were gone. When the ship emerged on the other side of the jump, the crew was silent. Earth was far behind them, but the weight of its loss was heavier than ever. Elena stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the stars. They had lost their home, but they were still alive. And as long as they lived, humanity would endure. "This isn't the end," she said, her voice firm. "This is just the beginning." The Eternal Dawn sailed onward, carrying the last remnants of mankind into the unknown. Somewhere out there, they would find a way to fight back. Somewhere out there, they would make the Krylos pay. For Earth, for humanity, for the future. The sky had burned, but the fire within them still raged, and would never go out. The Exodus and the First Alliance. The Eternal Dawn drifted through the void, its hull scarred and its crew weary. Weeks had passed since they fled Earth, and the weight of their loss hung heavy in the air. Supplies were running low, and the Krylos were still out there, hunting them. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the star charts. They needed a plan, a destination. But where could they go? The Krylos had declared humanity extinct, and any species that aided them would face the same fate. "Commander," Lieutenant Carter called, breaking the silence. "We're picking up a signal. It's faint, but it's definitely artificial." Elena's heart leapt. "Where's it coming from?" "A nearby system. 2 jumps away." "Set a course," she ordered. "If there's someone out there, we need to find them." The Eternal Dawn made the jumps, emerging in a system dominated by a vibrant blue star. As they approached the source of the signal, a planet came into view, lush and green, teeming with life. Orbiting, it was a massive space station, its sleek design unlike anything humanity had ever seen. "They're hailing us," Carter said, his voice tinged with disbelief. "On screen," Elena replied. The image of an alien appeared on the view screen. Its skin was a shimmering silver, and its eyes glowed with a soft, golden light. It spoke in a melodic language, which the ship's computer quickly translated. "We are the Arcturians," the alien said. "You are not Krylos. Who are you?" "I am Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force," Elena replied. "We are the last of humanity. Our home was destroyed by the Krylos. We seek refuge." The Arcturians' expression softened. "We know of the Krylos. They are a blight upon the galaxy. But to aid you would invite their wrath." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady. "The Krylos fear unity. If we stand together, we can defeat them. But if we fall, you'll be next." The Arcturian was silent for a moment, then nodded. "You speak with courage. We will hear your story." The Eternal Dawn docked with the Arcturian station, and Elena led a small delegation aboard. The Arcturians were a peaceful species, their technology far surpassing humanity's. But they had no military, no way to fight the Krylos. As Elena recounted the fall of Earth, the Arcturians listened in solemn silence. When she finished, their leader, a wise elder named Zanara, spoke. "Your resilience is remarkable," Zanara said. "But we cannot fight the Krylos alone." "You won't have to," Elena replied. "There are others out there, species the Krylos have enslaved or destroyed. If we unite them, we can stand against the Dominion." Zanara considered this, then nodded. "We will aid you. But know this, the path you propose is fraught with danger." "We have nothing left to lose," Elena said. The Arcturians agreed to share their resources and technology, and the Eternal Dawn was repaired and upgraded. For the first time since Earth's fall, Elena felt a flicker of hope. As the ship prepared to depart, Zanara approached Elena. "You carry the weight of your species on your shoulders," she said. "But you are not alone. Together, we will light the way." Elena nodded, her resolve stronger than ever. The road ahead would be long and perilous, but they had taken the first step. The Eternal Dawn set course for the next system, its mission clear: to rally the galaxy and strike back at the Krylos. For Earth, for humanity, for the future, the fire within them burned brighter than ever, and it would not be extinguished. The Eternal Warriors. The Galactic Resistance Coalition, GRC, was growing, but so was the Krylos' fury. Every system they liberated, every species they recruited, drew the Dominion's wrath. The Eternal Dawn had become a symbol of hope, but it was also a target. Commander Elena Reyes stood in the ship's war room, staring at a holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Krylos-controlled systems, their numbers staggering. Green dots, representing the GRC, were few and far between. "We can't win a war of attrition," Lieutenant Carter said, his voice grim. "The Krylos have the numbers. We need something more." Elena nodded. "We need warriors who can match their strength. We need the Eternal Warriors." The Eternal Warriors Initiative was humanity's last gamble. Volunteers from the crew and allied species underwent experimental enhancements, neural implants, reinforced skeletons, and advanced combat training. The process was grueling, and not all survived. But those who did became something more than soldiers. They became legends. Among the first to emerge from the program was Sergeant Marcus Vale, a former UEDF soldier who had lost his family in the fall of Earth. His enhancements made him faster, stronger, and nearly indestructible. But it was his unyielding resolve that set him apart. "I'm not just fighting for humanity," Marcus said during his first briefing. "I'm fighting for everyone the Krylos have ever hurt. And I won't stop until they're gone." The GRC's first major battle with the Krylos came at Orion's Belt, a strategic system crucial to both sides. The Eternal Dawn led the charge, its upgraded weapons tearing through enemy ships. But the Krylos were relentless, their numbers overwhelming. On the ground, the Eternal Warriors proved their worth. Marcus and his squad infiltrated a Krylos stronghold, their enhanced abilities allowing them to outmaneuver and outfight the enemy. They fought with a ferocity that left even the Krylos stunned. But victory came at a cost. As the GRC fleet secured the system, the Krylos launched a counterattack. The Eternal Dawn was crippled, its hull breached and its engines failing. Elena ordered a retreat, but not before Marcus's squad was cut off. "We'll hold them back," Marcus said over the comms, his voice calm despite the chaos. "Get the ship out of here." "Marcus, don't," Elena began, but the line went dead. The Eternal Warriors fought to the last, buying the Eternal Dawn enough time to escape. When the dust settled, Marcus and his squad were gone. Back on the ship, Elena stood in the war room, her hands trembling. The weight of leadership had never felt heavier. "We can't let their sacrifice be in vain," Carter said quietly. Elena nodded, her grief hardening into resolve. "We won't. The Krylos may have taken Marcus, but they've only made us stronger." The GRC regrouped, their resolve unshaken. The Eternal Warriors had proven that the Krylos could be beaten, and with every battle, their numbers grew. As the Eternal Dawn set course for the next system, Elena looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Marcus and the others were watching. "We'll finish what you started," she whispered. "For Earth, for humanity, for the future." The fire within them burned brighter than ever, and it would not be extinguished. The last stand. The Krylos' central hub loomed on the view screen, a monstrous structure of black metal and glowing red veins. It was the heart of their war machine, the source of their coordination and control. Destroy it, and the Dominion would fall. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, her crew tense but determined. This was it, the final battle. The Galactic Resistance Coalition had rallied every ship, every warrior, every species willing to fight. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but not out of hope. "All ships, prepare for engagement." Elena ordered, her voice steady. "This ends today." The battle began with a deafening roar. The GRC fleet surged forward, their weapons blazing. The Krylos responded in kind, their ships swarming like locusts. The Eternal Dawn led the charge, its upgraded hull absorbing hit after hit. On the ground, the Eternal Warriors launched their assault. Among them was Lieutenant Kara Voss, Marcus Vale's protege. She had volunteered for the enhancements after his death, determined to carry on his legacy. Now, she led her squad through the hub's defenses, their enhanced abilities cutting through the enemy like a blade. But the Krylos were ready. As the GRC fleet pressed the attack, the Krylos unleashed their secret weapon, a massive warship larger than anything they had faced before. Its energy beams tore through the Coalition's lines, leaving devastation in their wake. "We can't take much more of this," Carter shouted over the comms. Elena clenched her fists. "We don't have a choice. Hold the line." On the ground, Kara and her squad reached the hub's core. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burning metal. The Krylos guards were relentless, but the Eternal Warriors fought with everything they had. "Plant the charges," Kara ordered, her voice cutting through the chaos. As her squad worked, Kara held off the enemy, her enhanced reflexes and strength pushing her to the limit. But the Krylos kept coming, their numbers overwhelming. Back in space, the Eternal Dawn was on its last legs. The massive Krylos warship loomed closer, its weapons charging for a final blow. "Elena, we need to pull back," Carter urged. "Not yet," Elena said, her eyes fixed on the hub. "We need to give Kara more time." On the ground, Kara's squad finished planting the charges. But as they prepared to retreat, a Krylos energy blast struck Kara, sending her crashing to the ground. "Go," she shouted to her squad. "I'll cover you." Her squad hesitated, but Kara's glare left no room for argument. They fled, the charges set to detonate in minutes. Kara fought to her feet, her body battered but unbroken. She faced the Krylos horde alone, her weapons blazing. "For Marcus," she whispered. "For Earth." The charges detonated, the explosion tearing through the hub. In space, the Krylos fleet faltered, their coordination shattered. The Eternal Dawn seized the moment, its final barrage striking the massive warship. It erupted in a blinding flash, its destruction marking the turning point of the battle. As the GRC fleet rallied, Elena looked down at the burning hub. Somewhere in the flames, Kara's sacrifice burned bright. "We did it," Carter said, his voice filled with awe. Elena nodded, her heart heavy but proud. We did. The Krylos were defeated, their empire crumbling. The galaxy was free. For Earth. For humanity. For the future. The fire within them had burned brighter than ever. And it would never go out.